This video starts off at the beach. Yes, I'm embarking on another plein air painting, once again at the beach. My last outdoor project turned out quite successful, and I really want to try and repeat the process. It's day one, and I've arrived here only to find that I've forgotten a vital piece of equipment. I've forgotten the element that attaches my camera to my tripod, so I can't really do any proper filming today. I guess I'll just spend some time looking at my subject and working out exactly what I want to paint. I've actually thought about painting this very spot a few times in the past. I hope it's not too similar to my last painting project, but I think there are still enough differences to make it interesting. I have a small painting board already prepared with a few thin layers of acrylic gesso. I've tried a couple of different compositions while I was here. Here is the first, which I've sketched in with a pale blue pastel pencil. And here is the second, which I prefer. I think I'll go with this one. I really love the rounded, fluffy clouds in the sky today, and I've included them also. I'm back, it's day 2, and I've brought all my supplies and equipment with me. I've got my painting board with the sketch I did yesterday, and I'm ready to paint. The water looks so gorgeous today. Unfortunately, I think all my thick, fluffy clouds from yesterday have been blown away by the wind. I'm going to work on the background, but I think I'll block in the shapes of the trees so I don't lose them. This is a useful trick when you're using acrylics. Because acrylics are slightly thin and translucent, once I've blocked in the trees, I can go over them with the paint from my background, and the shadows of these dark shapes will vaguely show through the background layer. It means that if you've spent time and effort making a detailed drawing, you won't lose what you've done. Hopefully this is making sense, but you'll see what I mean in a moment. Here we go, let's lay in the background. As with my last painting, I'll keep this painting quite simplified. I'm inspired by the tonalists for my outdoor paintings. They focused primarily on tone, color, and composition, and they often eliminated quite a bit of detail in their paintings. I'm using quite a small panel to paint on, which helps me to keep the work simple. It's exactly the same size as my last project. It measures 15 by 22.5 centimeters or 6 by 9 inches. I'm putting in the headland and I've exaggerated its size and shape because I want to make it more of a focal point of the painting. Now that I've laid in the color, I can see that I've probably made it too big. I'll probably shave it down a bit as the painting develops. Now I can reinstate the trees. The light is changing constantly today. I've just realized that I'm not really feeling it. I can't really imagine this turning into an interesting painting, and I've pinpointed the composition as being the problem. It comprises mainly horizontals and nearly vertical lines, and that makes it very static. Generally, I like the lines in my paintings to be a bit more flowing and dynamic. If I turn my head to the left slightly, this view makes for a much more interesting composition. I think it's the repetition of diagonal tree trunks on the right, contrasting with some trunks and grasses sloping in the other direction on the left, that gives this scene more movement. Turning to my right, this is also an intriguing view. You've got the diagonal lines of the banister on the left and the twisting tree trunks sloping in various directions on the right. Together they give it a dynamic effect. There are also these interesting diagonal shadows and contours on the ground in the foreground, angled towards the water. And I like the gentle curve of the water where it meets the beach and the soft curves of the distant headlands in the background. I chose a much more straightforward composition because I was worried about getting everything done in a short time frame. Playing it safe means that I've chosen something boring, that doesn't fully inspire me. Composition has always been a major focus in my paintings. If I think about the plein air studies by Clarice Beckett that I admire the most, they also have slightly intriguing compositions. I'll link a few of my favorite Clarice Beckett paintings below in the description box. If I completed the painting by including twigs and branches around the edges of the painting, including clouds in the sky, and by adding lots of diagonal grasses in the foreground along the bottom edge, these things would all help to bring more interest and flow to the composition. But I don't know if I would ever be truly happy with it. I feel I should have gone for something more complex, and maybe that would have meant painting on a slightly larger board to fit in all the complexity. It would have tested me and forced me to work more quickly. The one thing I do really like about the unfinished panel is the color of the water. Even though this painting was a flop, I feel like I've learned so much about how to move forward with my plein air painting, and I'll try to take that into my next work. The next days were rainy, and I didn't have a chance to go back to the same location and make another attempt at painting the scene. But I will keep painting outdoors. I love the immediacy of it. In fact, I think I might be hooked, and I really want the chance to redeem myself.